Well, welcome. I'm Adam. This is Stephen. We run a company called Digital Learning Associates, and we want to be talking to you today about how we have found exporting digital content for the international education market has worked for us. We're based in the UK, but we are an international company. Our staff work in various territories as well as the UK, and our sales of digital content are truly global. A lot of our sales go into international global publishers who will sell their product from all the territories in the world. We are lucky enough, the background that Stephen and I come from is a mixture of the UK television industry. We've both been television producers and executive producers for the BBC and for the British independent sector. We've both spent a career working on internationally marketed and distributed programming, and we've both also had a background in education. So what we do in DLA is we try to bring the worlds of education and the worlds of television and entertainment together and provide what we call an intelligent layer between the two. So we help the world of education understand what they can get from the world of TV and entertainment, and that may be in the creative side, that might be in the production, post-production side, and it's also crucially in the side of rights, sales, licenses, making sure that the product that we sell is completely and utterly compliant with all the necessary regulation. So we offer that as part of our base service. We're very lucky to work with one of the UK's most exciting industries at the heart of the UK's creative sector, which is the television industry. UK TV production is worth £3 billion a year. It is a truly global product. UK television programmes, formats, rights are sold in every territory of the world, maybe sometimes under a UK banner, other times you wouldn't know it necessarily originated in the UK. And 1 billion a year of the UK television industry is exported. Because we come from that background, we appreciate the incredible creativity, hard work, understanding of how international audiences work, of all ages, of all targets, of all demographics. And we're able to piggyback on that, to leverage that brilliant product, to be able to make it useful for education and what education needs at this time and in the future. So we're going to start by just showing a very quick example of what the UK television industry produces day in, day out. This is a clip from a series called Mr. Selfridge. It is sold in over 100 territories worldwide, and it is an example of the high production values, the creativity that makes British television a world-beating product.
And the crucial question is, how would you use this in an education setting?
Not too neat and tidy. Pile them up. I want Treasure Island in here. Aladdin's Cave. Very good, very good. Great work, Henri. You're a genius. Well done, ladies. We are making history here.
Mr. Selfridge, these figures...
Not now, Crab. We have a store to open. All well and accessories, Miss Martle.
We are missing half the ribbon consignment.
Improvise. I know that I can rely on you and your excellent assistants, can't we, ladies?
Yes, Mr. Selfridge.
That is the spirit. I'm proud of you all.
Well, get on with your work.
Miss Bunting, all going to plan here in the fashion department.
Yes, Mrs. Selfridge.
We are going to dazzle the world.
Yes, Mrs. Selfridge.
What do you think, Grove? Your honest opinion.
Honesty, Chief. You really think London is ready for all this?
Ready for it? London is crying out for it. We're giving them style, glamour, razzmatazz. Once they see what we've done here, there'll be no turning back.
Now that's what there's a phrase you're going to be hearing from us a little bit the next few minutes, which is authentic video. Is everyone happy with that as a concept? Shall I briefly go through it? Authentic's one of those terrible words which has been overused, particularly in 2016 when it was used to sell presidential candidates. It's been used to sell bread, it's been used to sell beer, it's been used to sell ice cream. But in video, we use it very specifically. and it's probably best to define it by what it is not. Authentic video, as we define it and use it and sell it and our customers recognize it, is not what you would normally think of educational video, which is videos made specifically for learners. Perhaps the scripts were written by teachers, perhaps they were acted by perhaps not the best actors in the world. They may have been produced to not the highest production standards. We use the word authentic to describe the video that you, me, the learners, the buyers are watching on their TV day in, day out. It's drama, like Mr. Selfridge. It could be reality TV. It could be soap opera. It could be documentaries. It could be news programming. But it's real TV that's been broadcast. So remember that when we're talking about authentic video. That's what we mean. But now Stephen is going to explain how authentic video fits into an educational marketing.
Hi. So let's look at that example, the Mr. Selfridge film. What could you do with that as an educational asset? What kind of content is there behind that fantastically glossy, grabby piece of entertainment? Well, we thought about it and thought you could certainly look at communication skills, you can look at business history, you could look at teamwork, you could look at retail, you could look at commerce. There are a huge number of core business soft skills and hard skills that you could build program assets around. You could also, obviously, because it's using English, use it as an ELT product. So there you are, there's a fantastic piece of intellectual property available, and it doesn't cost as much to license and to get the rights to clip it up into education as you'd think. So what we want to do now is show you how we do that process of clipping up a big TV asset, something that has celebrities, great sexy shots, fantastic high production values, and turning it into something that's much more educational. And we're going to show you an asset that we've made, which takes a peak time documentary and turns it into something completely different for an educational need around employability and vocational skills. So have a look at this.
London, home to some of the finest hotels in the world.
The video about employability skills started life as a glossy primetime documentary about a glamorous hotel. Within it, we identified a story about one worker. Ollie, a graduate from catering college, was starting a new career as a junior chef. ITN provided technical execution as well as archive rights clearance. And together, we cut up the original broadcast. Extracted an authentic story about a trainee's first job, and created educational material on employability skills. Removing the original titles, commentary, and music allowed us to transform the film into a chef's story. Our presenter introduced it.
In this short video, we'll follow a young man fresh out of college
and voiced our new commentary about workplace skills.
He has been invited for interview.
It's learning content that's on point, authentic, and engaging. The rights are cleared for training and educational use. DLA and ITN are a partnership in educational video. In 2017, we will continue to use authentic video to produce hundreds more films for education.
So this original program would have cost the producers hundreds of thousands of dollars to make, and they would have been working on it for a year, 18 months. They'd have got access to this hotel, which would have been difficult, involved lots of negotiations, and they'd have put a top quality team on it. The end result was an hour-long documentary. As we know, selling to educational markets, we want something that's 2 or 3 minutes long, that can be used in the classroom, that can be used online for students working on their own, that can be repeated, and that has all the necessary assets that an educational user will require. A television program is lots and lots of different layers put together in the final thing you watch in the evenings on your TV or on your PC at home. We have to take those layers apart. Some of those layers are production layers. Some of those layers are controlled by different sets of rights and licensing. The music will be very different from the original commentary, will be very different from the original edit. There'll be sound effects, there'll be visual effects. We actually take those different elements and then recreate them in the way that we need to get it into the educational market. That's quite a job. It needs expertise. We need to understand what the educational market is asking for. So we'll add our own commentary, perhaps. We might want to add our own graphics if they were necessary. We'll need to pick out one story out of all the many stories that are going to be told in the whole documentary that will be particularly relevant for our audience of learners. And that process is something that we handle and make ready, so we make the product ready for the edu market, which makes it much easier to export and sell to publishers, to institutions, to the people who are going to use it. And that's at the heart of what we do, but never forget the other side. We don't want to lose the original magic that made it a popular TV program that millions of people around the world watched. We want to keep that engagement. With some more of the details about how the educational side goes, back to Stephen.
Okay, so obviously this kind of content actually has technical subject matter domain content in it. It might be around catering, it might be around maths, it might be around English. But we think that one of the big values of educational video coming from authentic sources like this is its ability to engage learners at a deeper level. So we're fundamentally talking about stories and narratives. That really grabs people. If we can get anything out of the recent Brexit and Trump events, it's that people are more engaged with stories often than they are with facts. So we think that the opportunity to use video of high quality to engage and get people just focused on any kind of task is one of the really big benefits for educators of this kind of material. We see lots of other factors that are also driving the attractiveness of authentic video. Clearly, we're in a situation where presential is becoming less important and distance is becoming more important. So the fact that this can be put on people's devices very easily, massively important. We see curricula where people are focusing on multiple skills together, particularly in the CLIL model where people are learning English through other subjects, or where we're seeing things like critical thinking melded onto business, for example, or English melded onto teamwork or something like that. All these soft skills are carried beautifully in the real-life narratives that you can access through good television. The transversal 21st century skills agenda is right there, and if you were to look, for example, at that clip we just saw, there's a fantastic set of learning points that any lesson wraparound could bring out around critical skills like persistence, teamwork, listening, and so forth. Finally, we see assessment as one of the big future areas of video. So there is no doubt that I'm pretty sure in 5 years people will be using this kind of content as part of an assessment process. You will be asked to look at that and respond to it and perhaps generate the next scene yourself or act out the line that should be spoken by the next person in the story as a way of assessing these more complex transverse skills. So that demand for authentic media is very much part of what the next generation of learners is expecting to see fulfilled in the educational product before them. So publishers, as Adam said, are coming to us to create really large orders of these kind of authentic sourced courses where the experience of learning starts from a video from a prime time program very often and then goes on to many other videos experience. But in that is embedded assessment, guidance, activities, and all the conventional things that you would expect in a good piece of educational pedagogy. We're going to look now at one of the areas where we've found the most traction so far, which is the ELT sector. So clearly, are we there? British television has a huge relevance for this market. And if you could just explain the story, Adam, while I get it up, of this video.
Television covers a whole range of genres. You know, we've already seen some drama, we've seen high-end glossy documentaries. Another source that is very useful is the news. News packages that go out every night on news bulletins. Typically, 4 minutes long, 3 minutes long. we use that as one of our most successful sources of raw, authentic video, and we remake it in the same way as we did with the documentary. This example we're about to show is about Amazon. It's a story about how Amazon started their fashion online operation. It was from a business news piece. We've taken this. It's a good subject. It promotes lots of discussion, thinking, further activities. But we've started by using the video to tell the story of how Amazon moved into fashion retailing online.
And the commentary that you're seeing on this is a commentary we have written to be accessible at a particular level of language learners. In fact, there are 3 different versions of commentary for different levels. So this is targeted by level.
And by creating the commentary ourselves, we're able to put that at the level that is necessary and the specification we've been given. The original commentary that would have been the news reporter would have been at a level that wasn't suitable for the English language learners.
This is Edu News from London. I'm Claire Muse. Amazon is the biggest online store in the world. It's a website where you can buy almost anything from gadgets to games, and now you can even buy clothes on the web. If you live in a town or city, you will probably have a high street. It's where you can go to buy clothes or check out the latest products. You can see the clothes close up, and of course you can try them on before you buy. But things are changing. Today you can buy new shoes, shirts or dresses without leaving home. That's because you can now do your shopping on the internet. Online fashion stores allow customers to buy products from their computers, phones or tablets and then have them delivered to their homes. In the past, you could only buy things during shop opening hours. Online, you can do it anytime. The world's biggest online store, Amazon, is moving into fashion. It doesn't have a traditional shop window, so it needs to display its products in a different way. That's why the company has just set up its own photography studio in London, a place where it can take all of the photographs it needs to show off its range of clothes.
I'm going to stop there, but the point we'd like to show there is that the way that you've used the words and the pictures there is quite different from the way it would be in a news report. So the ELT sector demands that you should actually hear the word at the point where you see the picture. That would be considered a bit noddy for high value broadcast entertainment, but for early level language learners it's absolutely crucial. So this show goes on and there's some authentic native speakers and you get a nice story which both has a business thing, it can fit into a bit of the curriculum, maybe around online retailing, and obviously, we don't just make the videos. It's important to see how you can actually add educational value to the material. So I'll just show you the sort of additional content that we tend to make over and above the videos themselves. We always provide worksheets, and we make sure that we know when we create a piece of educational video out of authentic material where that's heading in terms of how we would expect teachers or learners to engage with it. So typically there'll be 7 or 8 activities that will be linked to the curriculum. Here it's an ELT curriculum, so it's linked to grammar points and vocabulary points at the beginning of this sheet, and that sheet then goes on through several different areas, including discussion topics, activities for students and everything. So you don't go and make a film into an educational asset until you're really sure what the pedagogy will be behind its exploitation in the learning setting that it ends up in. So as our final goodbye,
we'd like to get some input from you. We've got a clip of a documentary which we licensed and discovered the other day. It's a really good fun documentary. It's glamorous. We're in the Bahamas and we're going with the very famous British TV anchor, Sir Trevor McDonald. We're going to meet the magician and illusionist, David Copperfield. He not only has a secret private island, he actually has a chain of 11 private islands in the Bahamas. And we thought this is engaging, it's got a celebrity, it's got beautiful pictures, it's a lovely place. What could we use it for to teach? Think about the educational end users that we might be able to put this to. So let's watch it. But all the time think, how might I, sell that to somebody to use in a classroom? How might I sell that to somebody to use in an e-learning program, how could I use the natural engagement that the students will get to bring out various educational outcomes? And your ideas will be as useful as ours.
This copy is in the form that our researchers and teams would view it, so it's got big time codes across the top. It's not a broadcast quality one. We scan hours and hours and hours of this kind of material, thinking through exactly this kind of question, and also matching it to requirements that we know. So if we knew that somebody was looking for example, ELT material on the topic of fame, we might say, oh, okay, that might go in that bucket. Anyway, have a look. Let's see what you think.
This is the Caribbean as I have never seen it before. I was on my way to see one of the most luxurious and expensive private islands of them all, owned by the world-famous magician and illusionist, David Copperfield. The resort's host, Klaus Becker, has worked for David for 2 years.
You know, you hear about, the beautiful blue Caribbean Sea.
Yeah.
But you never realize just how beautiful it is.
Yeah. David always says that magic to him is not just making things appear and disappear, but he believes in magic as being magical. And when he got introduced to these chains, he thought this was magical.
David Copperfield owns 11 islands, which make up the resort of Musha Key. Guests have access to all 11 for $250,000 a week.
Mr. Copperfield, I presume.
You had a nice journey?
It was excellent. Thank you.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much.
Welcome.
It's a great pleasure to meet you.
My pleasure. So this is the landings. This is where we have one of our many dinners, many locations for dinner.
You have, for any one time for dinner, how many people are there?
24 people at a time.
And who are these people who can afford to come to these marvelous islands?
Amazingly, a lot of people, believe it or not. It's the people that you've heard of, lots of famous actors and business leaders. But surprisingly, a lot of people that want to have a big anniversary or a big festive occasion.
Yeah, a big, costly anniversary.
It does cost money, but it's amazing how expensive it is to run an island. Because you have to remember, we have to bring in our own fuel. We have to make our own water here. Everything's like a whole country.
Visitors here are looked after by a staff of over 30 who will cater to their every need. There's everything you'd expect from a $250,000 a week resort, and a few surprises too. Like this museum dedicated to David's hero.
Now, he's obviously the big name in magic, but was he really the greatest?
He was a great escape artist, really a terrific person that actually created the whole idea of escaping from things.
But you have moved this whole art on amazingly.
I've tried to.
Well, no, you haven't. You've done better than try. Making the Statue of Liberty disappear, walking through the Great Wall of China and all these things. You have moved it on amazingly.
We have fun with it.
And then from this room, you look out on this...
That's Copperfield Bay there.
Who gave it that name?
I kind of did.
I thought you did.
Yes, I did.
We've actually had some interest from a Chinese client for using this one, but you've watched it. Imagine you're an educational publisher, you're running some form of school, you have a platform that's helping people learn English or learn K-12 subjects. What sort of lessons would you might like to draw out of that? Which subjects could you use? Which skills could you develop? How might you use it in a classroom situation? Be really interested to hear what people think.